There is a house in New Orleans, baby.
How's it going, Bill Traders? Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome again. Another session during the week. This one's going to be a really, really good one, as you can already smell, as we've had an incredible, massive winner on our Netflix put option, which we alerted to over the weekend. If you guys were paying attention, we made a post on Sunday, I believe it was. Sunday or Saturday, I can't remember which one. You can go through our Twitter feed and see when we posted it. But it was over the weekend when I was working on the report. I was looking at Netflix and seeing that earnings were going to be released. And I was looking at the charts, looking at the dynamics of what was in play, and knew that it was very likely going to be dropping. And so we took advantage of that and alerted that we were going to be getting into some put options, and it played out magnificently. Absolutely magnificently. And so we'll take a look at that and see how that played out shortly. But, this is one of the reasons why we love options, is because you can take a small amount of money, a lot of good knowledge, and put those two together and make extremely incredible profits. And so we'll go into that in this session. We're also going to be taking a look at Tesla, because they have earnings coming out after hours, after 4 p.m. today. So it'll be interesting to see leading up into that, what's the chart saying? What are the options saying? And, what is likely going to take place as we move forward. So I put it out there asking you guys what you thought was going to take place, and some of you are thinking that it's going to drop. Some of you are thinking that it's going to rally. So it's kind of a mixed bag of forecasts out there, and this is what makes our market, right? This is what makes the market move, is the fact that some people think it's going to go up, some people think it's going to go down. So we'll take a look and see what we've got going on. So if you would start by hitting the like button, I'd appreciate it. If you have any feeds that you can share this session with, it would be also appreciated. Okay, so let's start by doing that. How's everyone doing today? What a trade, my friend. Oh boy, I know, Giorgio. Hey? Yes, sir. And I actually have a trade that did better than the 616%. It was, well, anyways, we'll go into that. But the one that I alerted did the 616%. But just monster trade. Just monster. So, yeah, very happy with the results of that. So let's go into taking a look at that first, shall we? Let's just bring this up and bring out Netflix. Here's Netflix. Okay, so what were we looking at? What was so interesting about Netflix that made us determine that it was very likely going to be dropping with the earnings? Well, first of all, there was a couple things. First of all, Netflix, they did extremely well, right? In 2020. Why was that? Well, because we were forced into lockdowns, and people stuck at home didn't know what else to do with their time. So what did they do? They signed up with Netflix. All right. So Netflix did extremely well during that period. Okay. Because a lot of people were signing up for their memberships, and they were staying at home watching movies, and that worked extremely well up until this point here. Now, this is when Netflix started to have issues because they weren't getting the subscribers that they once had. In fact, a lot of people were canceling their memberships. And so there's been a lot of talk with the CEO coming out saying that, they're going to start cracking down on the password sharing and all that sort of stuff. So it was evident to us that, they were pushing price down, okay? We saw significant drops in price. I mean, this is a significant area here that I have. rectangled out here. This is a significant area. And when price came down here, and then all of a sudden just gapped down, you know, because of this, all right, big gap down, came back up. So that was definitely giving us signs that the momentum was to the downside, all right. Another thing that I'll point out here is on this weekly chart. Now, this goes down to something that we teach in level 2 with respect to supply and demand zones created by the institutions. And one thing that we recognized was we had an area here that was significant. And price dropped right through here like a stick of butter, just whoop, right through. And as you can see, price came right back up and it contacted this area and pushed price down. All right. So what we knew with high degree of certainty was that major supply forces were in play here. Okay. Major supply forces were in play. Now, yes, price came down into an area that could have also been significant buying. All right. But the latest area that was in play was supply. So looking at that and combining that with the earnings being released yesterday, we figured, you know what, getting into an option trade, something that would expire very soon, would likely be something that would be of interest. And, you know, you can get in with a small amount of money. You don't have to risk a lot, but you'd have to know that whatever you invested, you'd be willing to lose. All right. You'd have to be willing to lose all that money. So that's how I went into this, was with the idea that, you know, if I don't make it, if it doesn't move in the direction that I believe it will move in, then I'm going to lose my money. And that's fine. I knew that was fine. So I was looking at the Netflix. Price was... let's see, when did I post the tweet? Let me bring that up first for you. The tweet was on... Let's see here. Tweet, where are you? The tweet was posted... Here we go. The tweet was posted on April 17. Okay, so that was Sunday. The tweet was posted April 17. Okay. This is the option that I was looking at. It was a Netflix earnings is coming out on Tuesday after hours. It was an April 22nd, 2022, 3:30 put option that was going for $11.75. So price was $3.50. So $3.30 was just a little bit lower. Okay? $3.30 was just a little bit lower. Anything below that would be significant returns because you'd be in the money. But the option was out of the money at the time. So $3.30 put option that expired April 22nd, which is this coming Friday. $3.30 put option. Okay? Now, it's made highs of $116, but when we alerted it, it was $11.35 on 417. Was it 417 I just said? Yes. It was $11.75. Okay? $11.75. So we knew, look, you know, this is your investment. This is the investment. It could go against you badly, but if it goes in your favor, it's going to be a monster winner. And so the markets closed. Earnings were released. They fell short of expectations. And it was a massive hit for Netflix. So Netflix dropped significantly after hours. And then when it opened today, price opened up in the 80s. The low was 81.50 and made a high of 102. Okay. So very, very significant move on that one. So that's the power. Let me show you the other one that I was mentioning. It was 285. Let me look at my records here. 285. Here's the one that I'm very proud of. I got in this once 165. Yeah, give or take. It was around 165. I got to look at my notes. 165, ladies and gents. Okay. And I sold at $43. $165, $43. Okay. $165 was invested. Okay, just $165. Now imagine if it was $1,065 or $1,600. Okay, that's a 40G. That would have been 40G. 40G. I mean, wow, you know. Anyways, this is a new type of trade for me. I've not traded these type of trades before. So this is something that I just wanted to dip my toes in just to see how well that they would perform and get a feel for, you know, if I trade this option, what kind of profits am I looking at? If I trade that one, what kind of profits am I looking at? So I was looking at, you know, strike prices further away. So 285, because I was looking at where could price go? Where's the next area that the institutions will likely start coming in and start buying? So that's what I was really focusing on. So I wanted to see how well these types of trades would perform. So going forward, this is something that I will be focusing on. I call it the jackpot trade, as I posted in the Telegram channel, the jackpot trade, because you're basically going to make an investment and it's either a massive win or you lose the money that you invest. But if you win, it's a jackpot. Okay, you hit the jackpot. $1,000 investment making $40,000. Man, that's a nice jackpot. Nice jackpot indeed. So next on the list that we have now is Tesla. Tesla is going to be reporting after hours today. And so I'm looking at Tesla and I'm thinking to myself, okay, so it's not as clear cut as Netflix. Netflix was downtrending. Netflix had major supply forces in play. Okay, so that was a different dynamic. For me, that was high odds. That scenario was very high odds because the chart was just screaming that it wanted to drop. So now we have this situation where we're looking at Tesla. And, you know, one of the latest things that we introduced at the school was a very specific way of charting and labeling our analysis so that members have a very clear view of what is taking place, what is in play, you know, what are the major forces that are in play in the market. So what typically happens is when we have gaps in either direction, up or down, over the weekend, or big price movements because of earnings, what typically happens, not always, but what typically happens in those scenarios is the direction that the institutions were moving price in is the direction that price will move after earnings. Okay, so, you know, if I'm examining this chart, okay, we had an alert to get in long on Tesla here with exit over here. Okay, 1,142. And so why was our exit at 1,142? It was because that's where we believed significant selling was going to take place. So the last thing we can see on the charts is significant selling taking place. Now, as you can see, price declined from the selling. But where is it now? It's right here. It has yet to hit any institutional buying area, which we have mapped on the chart. So the last force that came into play on Tesla was selling. All right? That's what we know for sure. The last force that came into play was selling. But you have to remember, we don't have any downtrends here. We don't have price in the same situation as Netflix. It's unfortunate, but that's the case. So we have to keep that in mind. When we do look at Netflix, let's take a look here. I believe I had it up. Or sorry, Tesla. There we go, Tesla. So I'm looking at Tesla options that expire in a couple days. And I'm trying to determine what's likely going to happen here. So look at the top left-hand corner. What do you guys see there? Okay, we have significant volume on both ends right now. We have significant volume on the put side, and we have significant volume on the call side. All right, we have, look at that, 16,100 call options open today, above 1,000. So there's a lot of people opening up call options that believe price will go up to 1,000 and higher. But at the same time, you got, 13,700. A lot of people betting that price is going to go below 1,000. Okay, big amounts. So as we scroll through and take a look at options below, so if we're looking at put options below, we're going to scroll up. Below, we're going to scroll up, and we can see that 950, there's 14,200 options that were opened. Okay, at 950, that's below current price. All right, at the same time, if you go above current price, you'll see that right here, 10,050, 28,400 options opened today. Okay, 28,000. That's at $12. And the other one we were looking at, 950, that's at $20. Okay. So, I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think that, based on looking at the volume right now, that there's more chance that price drops? We look at the option volume here, and we can see that lately put options are the more prominent. So does that mean somebody knows something and they're positioning themselves for earnings? It's possible. It's possible. So the one thing I can say is that we do have supply in play, and the force of price is to the downside. All right. But again, no downward trend, nothing like that. Okay. No specific trends that would dictate the immediate direction of price. But if I had to suggest a bias, it would be to the downside. Okay. So we'll see after hours to see what takes place. Let's see. Got some comments here. How's it going from Vietnam? Nice to see you. CXS. So let's take a look here at the markets. All right. So what do we got going on with the markets here? I can close this now. So the markets are sitting in a range. We've talked about this for quite some time. All right. When we look at what's happening on the weekly chart specifically, the weekly chart is the one chart that is really keeping things in play right now. So what does that mean? That means that we have to keep an eye on this weekly chart because we have price reacting from supply. And also we have significant demand down here. All right. So price is basically in a range. Now, if price wants to go lower, it has to remove this area. If price wants to go higher, it has to remove this area. That's basically what it comes down to. So within this range, is there any idea that we can gather that would direct price in an otherwise upward momentum or downward momentum? Well, when we're looking at the daily chart the other day with members, we saw that there's a significant area of buying that we came into contact here. And what we were also discussing was that, if the institutions had any significant plans to push price higher, it would likely be from this area that they would do so. Okay. So on the lower time frame chart, we have price contacting this area initially here, creating some supply on the way down, removing it, creating demand. Many zones were created by the institutions until we had a significant break of this downward momentum. Okay, this is something that we've talked about several times here on the YouTube channel, is we have this downward momentum here, bringing price down into that area of demand that we were just talking about on the daily chart. And now this downward area breaks, right? So now we're more into a neutral area, okay? So we went from bearish to neutral. So that's the phase that we're currently in. And this is a 2-hour chart. So this is a shorter term, okay? Shorter term moves that we're talking about here. Now, so within that context, what we would want to see now is a upward structure of some sort being created. Because if we get an upward structure of some sort being created, we would be able to conclude that this daily area of demand that is currently in play is significant, and the institutions want to accumulate a position from this area and push price higher. Right? So that is where we are currently at when it comes to the index. All right? We're in a holding pattern. It's looking good for a move upwards, but we're still in the holding pattern. Nothing significant has been created yet. So we're waiting for that. If the 2-hour chart produces something to the upside, then, you know, it's more positive for a continued move to the upside. It's more positive. But we're still watching the chart, because at the end of the day, weekly charts in a range. If you want that significant push to the upside in the markets, that range has to break out. Okay? So short term to mid-term, we're seeing some positive signs that we're going to get some strong momentum to the upside here. But it is a waiting game for now. All right? It's looking good, but we still got to wait and see how things play out. So with that being said, there's a very, very interesting thing that's happening in the markets right now. Very interesting thing. Because as we scan through the watch list, we're looking at a lot of stock charts that have room to drop. And so we posted this in our watch list sent out for members yesterday. And we were looking at several charts that, you know, they look like they could start heading higher, especially with the index starting to find some support. But like I was mentioning to members, I'm not fooled. I'm not fooled by it, because the chart is indicating it wants to go lower. And now today we're seeing a lot of those charts dropping into those areas. So this is something that I want to stay focused on as well when it comes to trading these charts. You know, like BlackRock, for instance, is something that I have on my watch list, something that I'm interested in trading. I'm waiting for it to have some significant buying from the institutions before I get in, but I'm definitely interested in getting involved into this one. Berkshire Hathaway, we saw a very significant rally. It hit our target that we set back in December 13th. Our target was, what was it? We got that little label in front there, 360. Okay, back in December 16, we set a target for 360. It hit that target to a T, and then we saw the sell-off take place from there. I mean, if that's not magic, I don't know what is. And again, why do we select our targets the way that we do? We select our targets based on areas that we know with high degree of certainty will be areas where the institutions will take profits on their positions, which will fuel a move to the downside. Okay, so there's a very good chance that we see this one drop a little bit further. Okay, very good chance. We went into details with the members as to why I believe that, so I won't go into it any further. BABA was one of those charts that I said this one's going to drop. Everything is indicating on the charts that we're likely going to get a drop, and so that's what's going on right now. All right, it is weak. And we have determined, you know, it's at $90.18 now. We've determined that there's nothing to stop it from going down to $80. Okay. And you see, the market is strong, right? It's been very well supported and it's been rallying, but we have BABA reacting to the downside. All right. Let's see. Martin writes, beautifully explained Tesla. Are you going short? I don't know yet. I haven't made my mind up on that one. I'm going to do a little bit more analysis getting closer to 4 o'clock, and then I'll take a look at what's going on. So I haven't quite made my mind up with that one. If I do, it'll be very small because, like I said, Netflix was pretty clear cut what direction it was going to go. I mean, it was kind of screaming at me saying, I'm going to drop, I'm going to drop. Did I know it was going to be a 35% drop? No, I didn't know it was going to be that big. I knew it was going to be significant, but you know, this is quite exciting to see such a significant drop. I mean, that is just, Netflix is the talk of the town today. All right. Everybody's talking about that. So that's the next one. Okay. Is Tesla. I was looking at the charts to see what else is coming up. Next week we've got. You guys want to take a look at some earnings plays for next week? We can do that. I was looking at that. I think IBM is coming out, if I'm not mistaken, or Microsoft. I think Microsoft is the one. Earnings for IBM, yeah, they're popping up today. Positive earnings. The chart is not the best looking chart. I mean, it's decent. It's decent. It looks like we have, yeah, looks like we had an institutional area of buying right here. Yeah, that's for sure. Institutional area of buying down in the 100s, 119s, low 19s. They started buying down there. Yeah, they started buying down there. And it's just been nothing but rallying. So did they know that earnings were going to be good? Of course they did, because they own the company, right? So of course they would know. IBM's out. Microsoft 426. That's the one I was looking at. So Microsoft is another one. Okay. Microsoft's coming out 426. So that would be on Tuesday next week after hours. And this one's a fairly decent one because what I can tell by looking at the charts is that we have some significant selling pressure on this chart. Okay. We have significant selling pressure on this chart. We have here an institutional area of selling that came into play and came into play a second time, and it's been downhill from there. Yes, we're getting a little bit of a pop to the upside, but we have not yet had institutional buying coming into play. All right, so obviously this is something that I'm going to be watching closely leading up into the earnings release. If we look at, we can take a quick look here at Microsoft. I believe I already had that one typed in somewhere. Pretty sure I did, unless it disappeared. So I guess I must have overwrote it. All right, no problem. So let's look at Microsoft. So we're looking at options for the 29th of April because earnings is next week. And what do we see? We see that call options 2.5. Call options look to be pretty high. Okay, 2.5, and that's 325. 325 call options. Expiry 320, or 320 strike price, I should say. And then we got put options 260 strike price. Okay, so the first thing I like to do when I look at a chart is, okay, if it drops, where is it likely going to drop to? And I would have to say that the next institutional area of buying would be at 253. We're at 286. So 253 is the next spot. So I'm looking at the put options, and 250, which one is this? 260. 260. That is impressive. So we've looked on the charts and we can see that 253 is the next area of institutional buying, and volume for the 260 strike price is massive on puts, 260. So we go to 260, and there it is, 260. we have 1.12 open interest, and we have $1.05, $1.10 is what this one's going for. Okay, 260. Now 260 is out of the money because right now we're at 286. So 260 would be this weekly area of demand down here on the weekly chart. And that's not bad. That's not bad, because what did I say was in play? Weekly supply. Weekly supply is in play. What typically happens with price when a weekly supply is in play? It drops to a weekly area of demand. That's what typically takes place. Okay? So 260, that would be a decent option. Okay? That one there. So I'm gonna take a screenshot of that, and I'll put it in my notes here. So it's a Microsoft MSFT April 29 22 260 put. Boom. Done. Okay, that's the put option. So let's say price was going to actually rally instead of drop. Where would be the likely place that it would be going up to? I'd say about the 310 area. 310 area, okay? And so we look at call options. What do we see here? Call options, big volume on 320 area. Interesting. That's definitely, because we got a previous test of this weekly area of supply here. Right here, previous test. And then a second test was a little bit deeper. And which each test, it tends to go a little bit deeper. So the last test was 315. So the next logical area is 320. Yeah, makes sense to me. 320. And so that just happens to be where the biggest amount of volume for call options. So we go to 320 and look at the call options, and there we have open interest right now at 2.76. Okay, at 325 we have 7.32 thousand. So that is quite significant for call options at 325. Quite significant. So there's a lot of people holding positions there. And it looks like April 11th. April 11th was the vast majority of those positions being opened. April 11th is right there. When we got a drop, we had a gap down. We had a gap down in price, and a bunch of people bought, or a bunch of people or one person bought a significant amount of call options. Okay, significant amount, 320. After this drop, it dropped here, and they believed that it was going to rally above 320. So, so we have both sides here. We have a significant volume on both sides. So, taking supply and demand into consideration, I'd have to conclude that it's likely we're going to see a drop here. Okay? That's just the logic. I took you through the logic. I took you through the charts. And what I'm seeing is that it's likely going to drop. Why? Because supply is in play. Plain and simple. Okay? Martin writes, looks like techs will pop up after each received its demand zones. IBM already done. Tesla on the run. Microsoft next week. So you think, Martin, looks like tech stocks will pop up after each received its demand zones? Each received its demand zones? I don't understand what that means. After each received its demand zones. IBM demand was in play. It was the last thing that was in play was demand. So and so earnings came out and it was to the upside. So that was pretty clear. Okay. Any other tech stocks that came out last week? Anything came out last week? That'd be interesting to take a look at. Do you guys know of any? Boom, 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 boom. And we can take a look at what they did. This is something that we'll be doing in future classes, where we're going to be examining earnings releases. We're going to be looking at what price just recently did and how it reacted. So let's take a look here. Morgan Stanley, the banks, yeah. Adobe, JP Morgan, a lot of banks, yeah. Toronto Dominion, JP Morgan. Okay, Adobe, 414. Let's take a look at that one. I think I was looking at that one too. Adobe. Adobe 414 came out 414. Are you sure about that? Yeah. I don't have the label on my chart here. Oh. It says March 22nd. What am I missing here? That's strange. Oh, annual meeting. Annual general meeting, sorry. Yeah. United Health. I was looking at that one. UN. Where are you? UNH. So here's the earnings. Yeah, it was quite significant here. It was upward trending. Last thing was demand in play. Yeah. So it had an initial rally up, a pullback down, and continuation to the upside. Yeah. And what we can see is that we had an institutional area of buying here. So price came down into an institutional area of buying, leading up into earnings. We got the big move, and now it just came back into the institutional area of buying, and away she goes. Wow. That's just incredible. That's just incredible. JP Morgan, 413. Let's see, JP Morgan. Yeah, so institutional buying came into play on JP Morgan, and then we got the earnings, and it was a surprise here with earnings per share, and we got a rally anyways because of demand being in play. Yeah. All right. So Microsoft, I think, is the one. So Tesla tonight. Microsoft is the next one that I've really got my focus on. And so we'll see. But going forward, like I said, one thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to be keeping track of what's in play, buying or selling from the banks. And we're going to be doing historical analysis of earnings from the past. Okay. We're going to look at what was in play, institutional buying or selling, and what were the earnings that came out and how did it affect price. Okay. Was the earnings considered positive, negative, and why was it negative or positive, considering the context of what price was currently in at that time. So, gonna be interesting. I think it's gonna reveal a lot of stuff. So I'm really looking forward to that because I think, like I said, it's going to reveal a lot of things that we can use in the future to help us determine good trading opportunities for these jackpot trades. Okay. All right. That's it. I won't go much longer. I think we covered a lot, and hope you enjoyed our session today. Let's see. Just read a couple notes here. Blacksmith, been following you for the past 2 months. Exceptional analysis. Are you at all from Toronto? I used to live in Mississauga. I moved up north. I'm in Muskoka now. So I got out of the city and I'm in the country. So yeah, but I travel down there every once in a while and enjoy it. All right. Thanks for joining me again. Please hit the like and share, and enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you in the Telegram channel. Take care, everyone.